I thought of this analogy today towards relationships that might be valuable to you. So I think there's some ways we can look at relationships, but I think two ways we can look at relationships is we look at it like a business or a product. Often, not often, but sometimes we look at relationships like a product, like what can I get? What can I get from this thing? Not as a business, which is what can I invest in? How can I support? What can I contribute to? And I think when we look at relationships like an organization, like an opportunity of cooperation to build something of value. And something I notice about my relationship with my wife, we've been together for almost 5 years now, is the couple that we are today is so different from the couple that we were when we first met. And I think one of the greatest things about our relationship now is it's been built. Oh my God, in the background. I couldn't have, try not to be distracted if you can. I couldn't have found my wife the way she is. The relationship, there we go, we're back. The relationship we have together is, I'll tell you about the baby later. Our baby has been born, yes. But I'll go into details about that in future posts. We haven't shared much about that online yet. But when we're talking about building relationships, I think it's so powerful to come at relationships like something that's meant to be created rather than found. And I think for so often, many of us, we're looking for some perfect product, for something that's like in a box and like, okay, I'm going to date to find the right person. And I think that's a really flawed way to go about it, because I genuinely believe great relationships are created. They're not found. And it's an ongoing creation. Like my relationship with my wife now, how we communicate would not have been possible before. You think about going to meet someone who's a great communicator. I want to meet someone who's a fantastic communicator. Okay, maybe that's not as valuable as if you both struggled in parts of communication and you work together to find a new way to communicate together as a couple, as a parent. I think that's actually way more valuable than simply going to find someone who's a great communicator. Now, of course, you want someone to be great at communicating, but I actually think it's so much more incredible. It's almost like you're interweaving yourself with a person that you both offer these gifts for each other and you work together. Maybe you saw one of my posts the other day that was about relationship doesn't start until you have conflict. Well, why is that the case? Because anyone can be on their best behavior when everything's going great. But what about when you do something that pisses me off? What about when you talk about something that I don't believe in? Now what? How are we going to act together about this? That to me is way more valuable. How are we going to act together now? And to me, a great relationship is built off of the skills of working together when our emotions and traumas are being triggered, when our past is wanting to run the show. Now, if we can let ourselves come together and cooperate when we don't know how, when we're uncertain, when we're confused, and have an attitude of how can we collaborate, how can we be a team, then you can build something so freaking phenomenal. But if it's only about what can I get from this person, or I need to go find someone who's got all these perfect qualities, so often then we get discouraged because people don't have those things, or we meet them and they're not who we thought they were. And I would really like to inspire a new level of contribution to relationships, like building a house, like a foundation and walls that I can count on, that I can lean against, like it's going to take something, and I want to build this thing together. It's just so much more fulfilling, I believe. And I think a lot of us have lost that kind of attitude toward relationships. And I'm hoping that my content inspires that kind of personal responsibility. I'm going to bring 100 to the table. You bring 100 to the table. Let's see what we can create. And it won't always be perfect, and it's going to be messy, and I'm going to be confused, and I'm going to be scared. And let's see what we can create. And we're going to fall on our face, and we're going to mess it up, we're going to make mistakes, and let's see what we can create. And I'm scared, I don't know what to do, and I'm going to reach out to a relationship coach or a therapist or something, and I'm going to come back and see, how can I come away from this with a greater understanding or a greater connection to you? Even if you do something I don't like, even if you say something I don't believe, it's going to happen. If you're in a relationship right now and it's going swimmingly, this person's going to disappoint you. That's life. I don't believe any of this is about finding someone who's not going to disappoint us or upset us. It's about how we're going to be in the face of disappointment, how we're going to be in the face of confusion, challenge, disagreement. Disagreement is a beautiful thing that I think many of us run from. I mean, talk about cancel culture these days. Someone says something you disagree with and they're a bad person. No, they just think something differently about a particular topic. Doesn't make them a bad person. So there's my rant for you today.